This video is brought to you by Miniature Market. Thousands of board games, discounted prices, miniaturemarket.com.
Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Today we're going back to our childhood. We're going to be building a house, but not just any house. We're going to be building it in the trees. We're going to be trying to build the best treehouse ever. This is a game for 2 to 4 players. It is a light drafted game with really cute artwork. Takes about 20 minutes to play. Let me show you how you construct your treehouse, and I'll see you on the other side. In the best treehouse ever, you're going to be building some cool treehouses in different types. For example, yellow rooms are education rooms, and they might be something like wood shop or chemistry labs. The food rooms are brown, and you might be building a candy store or a pizza parlor. The outdoor rooms they're green, they could be a rope bridge or an aviary. Water rooms are blue. You could be building splash pads, surf simulators. Entertainment rooms are purple, and they could be funhouse mirrors or music rooms, and the activity rooms are red, and these could be something like mini golf green and tire swing. There are a ton of cards in each of these different types. This is just 2 of these to give you an example of what they look like, what the artwork looks like, and also it is colorblind friendly because each of these also have an icon along with the color. At the beginning of the game, it's up to 4 players. Each one's going to pick a card that has a certain color, red, blue, orange, or yellow. Take that card and put their acorn in the center. Now how the game works is it's played over 3 rounds. Each round, each player is going to get 6 cards in their hand. From these 6 cards, they are going to choose which one to play. Let's put this one down face down. They're going to take the rest of these cards and pass them to the player to their left, and they're going to do that face down. Once everyone has done that, everyone will then reveal what they've picked. Hey, hot dog stand. They're going to put it in their treehouse. There's some placement rules at the beginning of the game. Essentially, you're going to either put it here or here because you're building your treehouse up like that. Now, if I put it to the left side of the middle line, the acorn goes to the left because that's where the balance is. If I pushed it to the right, it would move 1 to the right. This is important because now on a future turn, my next turn, I cannot put something that's up on the left over here because it's already all the way to the left. So the next time I'm going to have to put something on the right. Each card has to be supported by either 2 cards underneath, unless they're an end, where this is actually an end, so it will go like that. And just to show you how the treehouse will end up looking is after your base, you're going to have 2 cards, and then 3, 4, 5, and 6. And so every even row, the second and the 4th row, there'll be a card that's actually right in the middle. And in that case, you don't move the acorn, but all the other ones, they're either going to be left or right of the center line. And so you would move your acorn just like that. After that, I will pick up the pile of cards my opponent passed me. There'd be 5 of them there. And I would pick one, select it again, and again I would pass the rest to my neighbor. And once again, we would flip. I would push it here, and then because it's on the right, I would move this. And you would continue to do this until when you receive 2 cards, you'll select one, and you'll discard the other one out. That will be the end of the round. Now, when placing cards here, once I've placed a blue or a brown, for example, a color, the next time I place a color, I'm going to need to have it touch. So I cannot place this blue here because I already have a blue. I've already started the water part of my treehouse. So my next blue card would either have to go here or here. As long as they're touching, I cannot place it there. And there might be a time where you might by accident, or sometimes actually on purpose, you might do something like this. And in this case, your blue is now blocked and you cannot play blue the rest of the game. So I'm now building up on brown touching, maybe green touching up here, but the blue is now blocked in. If at the end of the turn, let's just say I get 2 blue cards at the end of a round and I have to select one and discard one, I can't play this. So if I by accident take a card that I can't place, maybe because of the acorn I can't place something maybe I couldn't place here because the acorn was here already. Maybe I get something or I can't place it. You have to just discard it out of the game. So you may have 5 cards every round, but you may have less if you need to throw things out. In this case, let's just say I had to throw one out, I made a mistake, and I have 4 cards that are here, and then we would do some scoring. Now when it comes to scoring, there's scoring cards for each of the building types in your treehouse. But there's also these game changer cards. Whoever's in first place will pick first one of these cards. If it's the first round, you start with the oldest player, or you can randomize it. That first player person is going to pick one of these two or one of these two. These will cancel out any one of these colors, and these will add 2 points. But they don't get to play it first. The first player gets to take one. Maybe he takes this. Maybe the second player takes this. And maybe the third player takes this. If there's only 3, that's it. If there's 4, the fourth person would take this. Now you go in reverse order. The last person to take a card is the first person to play them. Maybe they have a lot of green, so they will make green worth 2 instead of 1. Maybe the next player knows that that player in first place has a ton of reds, so they cancel out the red score. Red will not score this round. And maybe this player does 2 for brown, and maybe another player says, this is not. So then you go through and you say, well, for every yellow you have in your building, it's 1. For every brown, it's 2, and so on and so forth. Blue and red don't score, and then you give yourself some scoring going through that. And scoring is tracked on these 3 separate cards that you kind of place together, and they're tracked with these little cylinders as you do score there. Now after the scoring, these essentially just reset, because this will get reset for the next round. You give everybody 6 cards again, and you start the same process. And then you do it again a third round. So at the end of the third round, if you have the most yellow rooms, not tied but most, you'll get 1 for every yellow room you have. Same for every one of these. Those are certain bonuses, and whoever has the most is the winner. Now there is an advanced variant. There's these bonus cards. You deal 1 to each player face down at the beginning of the game. Then what they're trying to do is at the end of the game, if they have their treehouse that has a brown and a purple next to each other with a red on top, they'd get 4 points. They can actually get either none of these, 1 of these, or both of these. These would add to their points at the end of the game. In the 2-player game, the game changer cards, you only use the 2 ones like this. The one who has the most points at this time places this first, and whoever has the least points places it second on whichever one they want. And if you're playing with younger people, you do not use these game changers. You just use this, and going around, each person gets to select 1 card and put it in front of them, and those are the ones that will score this round. Alright, if you don't fall in love with this artwork, you must not be human. I mean, this game is adorable. I mean, all the different rooms that you can do, and I love how they're different themed and their colors, and I like how they did this colorblind friendly. They put icons there, and I love how different, like the water room or the food room. You get the hot dog stand, the pizza parlor, or you can do like a chemistry lab, and it's just so fun and imaginary that you can do this. And I find that kids love this, but I also find that adults find this quite fun too. Now, this is a very light game. This is on the line of, say, if you've played a Sushi Go, similar game where you're drafting, feels very similar, where you're taking a card and passing them along. But the scoring, I think, is a little more easy to understand in this game than Sushi Go, and I think the artwork's as cute, just a different theme. So I like the game quite a bit. I like building my tree. The only thing that's kind of hard to teach people a little bit at first is the balancing with the acorn. And some rows, you have one in the middle that does nothing, and other ones you got to keep them sort of lined up good. If you're sloppy, you might not be able to tell if it's going right or left. And that's the hardest part to teach people. But once they learn that, it's a very easy game to learn. It's really fun to build your own tree houses, to specialize in a color, but you don't want to specialize too much, because if you're the only one with that, people are going to nix it out and not allow you to score it. So you got to build somewhat evenly. And it's also a little bit spatial, where you're trying to build colors and you might by accident block yourself out. There's some good decision making spatially how to build your tree house, but also decision making of the hand management of taking the cards you need there. Also, I like how there's the advanced variant where you can ratchet it up with some different bonuses, or make it easier for kids and have a 2-player variant. Now for 2 players, I didn't like it as much as 3 or 4 for sure. I just find that 2-player drafting games just aren't as interesting, because you have the same cards and they're going around, and it's not necessarily as interesting. However, there is a variant in another drafting game called Treasure Hunter that came out last year, where the 2-player variant is you make another deck of the same amount of cards, and when you get the cards past you, you draw from this deck, you select one, and then you discard one. And that really, if you play that variant, even though it's not in these rules, with this, it really makes the 2-player drafting feel fresh. It makes it feel like it's actually going around a bunch of people, and it does make the game just as good as any other player count. But it's a variant that's not in these rules, but it was in another game. Overall, it's a fun, very light game. You can play it with family, but yet gamers like it too. A quick filler that I really liked. Best treehouse ever. And because I liked it so much, let's induct it into my gaming library with a saxophone serenade.
video was sponsored by Miniature Market's Review Corner. The Review Corner features podcasts, video, and written game reviews by gamers for gamers. Miniature Market, the online gaming superstore. Thousands of board games, discounted prices. Check them out at miniaturemarket.com. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for backing me on Kickstarter and making this season become a reality. I'd like to especially thank those here that have backed me at the credit level. Now, these video reviews are also available by audio on our podcast. It's the intros and the final thoughts on GameBoyGeek.com. Click podcast.